William, did you get my email?
I'll check with it right now. Yes, I did. Yes, and I sent you back one.
Okay, I haven't received it yet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to An Open Door. This is where we meet once a week after we've heard a fabulous, fabulous spiritual teacher, and then we come together and discuss what we've heard and what moved us. So with that, Melanie is our opening song.
Okay.
By Salvadore Poe.
I'll try it here. Okay, let me do, I go share. Okay. And I'm going to mute myself here. You didn't hear anything, did you?
No.
Okay, let me just try one more time. Share. Let me just. Wow. Oh no, I don't think it's working. Maybe we can try it at the end, I guess. Amy, have you done it with I have it up on my Google Chrome. I have it up, and then let me just try one more time. Okay. Share. Share. Stop.
Is it on your desktop, Mel? Is that where
Yeah, let me see. I'll hit that. Okay, let me try this now. Do you see that?
There you go. You got it.
Your voice appeared a sacred sound. A call to me from hallowed ground. A sensuous refrain. I couldn't stand the pain. You seemed 1,000 miles too high. But what's 1,000 miles between you and I? So I tied my hands upon a mast. With velvet ropes, I tied them fast. I could have gone insane with no way to explain. What's 1,000 times between you and I. The shade from the rocks on the shore seem to be within my reach, or am I just a sea? Now all that I see is a game, and I just love to play. I dreamed there was a crack of light. It filled the day and lit the night. You seemed 1,000 miles too high. But what's 1,000 miles between you and I?
Oh, good. All right. Thanks,
Thank you, Mel.
Thank you,
Great.
Mel.
Good job.
I know, I'm learning. Thank you. Oh, it's great to be here with everybody today. And we're going to be talking about Salvador Poe's podcast, I guess it was. He was interviewed with Brian and Jonathan. And what alerted me to him was, I know Amy follows. We went about 6 months ago. We listened to, they interviewed Kat Van Houston. I think her name was Kat Van Houston. And in that interview, they asked her who was most kind of influential or who was her most important teacher. And she mentioned Salvador Poe. And everyone said, huh? You know, no one had really ever heard of him. So when finally, then when I saw he was going to be interviewed, you know, I thought, wow, this is a great chance to see what you know, what it was all about. And yeah, he's so different kind of, and yet says his message is just so simple. And just some of the things I guess he, you know, his story, of course, was, you know, and it's so interesting about, you know, his deep dive into drugs and hard rock. And it reminded me a little bit of Byron Katie. You know, he had spirituality wasn't on his radar at all. And then after he had that, you know, kind of, I guess you want to say an overdose or a moment of deep calling out for help, that he had, you know, such a sudden shift, and he dropped everything else and just turned totally to that great, you know, discover more about spirituality, and that took that great dive into, took him all around the world. And he clearly loved to jump, you know, he went everywhere. And you know, it's so opposite of what I am, that I really appreciate hearing somebody who can just, you know, go with it, you know, and follow it to the fullest, and to meditate, you know, it's, you know, 7 or what do you say, 6, 7 or 8 hours a day, you know, it's just amazing how he was almost driven to find the truth, which is turned out to be just very simple and available and accessible to all of us. And you know, his holiday, I really like that, the sense of not taking a holiday, but having a holiday, because it's always available to us to just recognize and just know, you know, he said, come into the sun of pure being. It's a beautiful, just step back and recognize, oh, you know, here I am. And I like that. He said, knowing that I am. And I had a great understanding that it's the knowing part we all have that knowability, and it's the knowability that we are. It's not an object, right? It's the capacity to know. And that capacity to know is what we are, and it's available to all of us at any moment. And it's so obvious that we're so distracted with our thoughts, but just to take, have a holiday when we have that spontaneous recognition, and it's really, I just love that. So just wanted to, what else I was going to bring up? Oh yeah, when he talked about not a body, he made the point of, it doesn't deny anything. It was cool. And he said, also the body. So in other words, we include everything, all inclusive. Nothing is denied. And and when he talked about, you're not lost in thought, you're found as thought. That's a huge shift, isn't it? It just makes it so much more positive. You're not lost in this character out here. You're found. Life is found there right now. And, just recognizing that, it's a huge shift. Let me see. Oh, and reduce, reduce, reduce. I had this insight on that too. He was talking about, reducing, reducing, reducing to nothing. Reduce down. And I had the insight that, what's irreducible? What's the most irreducible? And that would be, to me, it's like, well, now. You can't reduce any further than now. So now and that knowability. Okay. I'm kind of rattling a little bit, but throwing some things out. And he talked about, there's not two selves. There's not, he challenged that. There's only one. And that made me think of Lonnie. I love Lonnie's smile here, because she says, you always say it's divine is everything, right? Just see the divine is through in everything. There's only the divine. It might appear bad or evil, whatever, but it's all the divine. And I think he was pointing to that as well. So I appreciate it. Oh, and I liked his point about devotion too. He brought in devotion, bhakti, and oh yeah, when he was talking about his teacher, Aja, I guess it was, who, I think Cindy mentioned this, but when he didn't speak any English, so he would just sit with him and just absorb his whatever he said. And he said with such love, he just felt such love for him. And he said something to Salvadore, and then he didn't understand it, but he did twist the arm of his friend to ask what he had said. And what his guru had said was, here it is here, look at yourself the same way you were looking at me. And, turn around, look at yourself. And that's where the love goes and flows. And that was really moving to me. I really felt that, how beautiful, what a beautiful gift. It's ever present. Love is just right here. Just turn around. And we're saying when somebody get troubled with thoughts, maybe that's just, love tapping you on the shoulder, telling you to turn around, I'm right here is all you ever need or ever want. It's just right here. It's always accessible. So I love that. And then they had the discussion about about spiritual bypassing. And there again, he didn't deny anything, but he did suggest maybe you can get off that carousel of, the ego is very devious. The ego can keep you very entertained for a very long time, exploring yourself. So maybe it's nice to step off the carousel and just enjoy now. And I saw this quote from Francis Lucille, which seemed to kind of connect with what he was saying. Francis Lucille says, let go sleep. Don't wake them. Celebrate and just, and just keep celebrating more and more and more. And let me see what else I was going to. And with shadow work, he emphasized the importance is to hold on to the possibility of radical change. That's always possible. Always a holiday is always available. And meditation for him now is living freedom. It's present whenever, all the time. And also he did emphasize he's not the doer. And that kind of showed out in how his whole life kind of unfolded. He didn't, wasn't doing any of it. It was just guided, it seems, from him, his own true self. So, all my mumbling. So I'd love to turn it over to you guys and see if you had any. I'm sure I missed lots of gems. So let me know if you'd like to share. And thank you for being here today. It's wonderful to be together. Yeah, thank you.
I had an observation. I think, Mel, you summed it up really well. But when he was asked what happened to him when he fell down on the floor and after his drug-induced collapse, he resisted using the term divine intervention. And I really was curious about that. He said he didn't know. And there is something that about the, really fundamental, there's nothing, there's no doer, and I understand that, but there's just this, that I don't completely understand. I'm looking for the love, and I'm looking for the spark of joy in creation. And I'm looking for something outside this headset besides it's only this what's right here. And all we can know is this right here. I understand that, but I'm also sort of tuned into what the guides say, which is there's a whole other level of understanding that we don't have access to. And so I get limiting yourself to what's here right now. And I may be misstating his teaching. I'm totally open to that. But I do find over and over again that while I love the raw truth of it and just the bare bones of it, I also want the sweetness. There's a sweetness missing that I find my heart really longs for. So that's all for now for me.
Thank you. I kind of picked up when he was talking about the bhakti and the love that he experienced for his guru being reflected back at him. That's where I felt the love come through, in a sense. Yeah, thank you.
And I was also wondering if the sweetness doesn't come from that present moment. It is that everything just happens, and it's very sweet. In that there's freedom in it, and when there's freedom, there's sweetness for me. Does that make sense, Amy?
It does make sense, but I have had too many occasions where I have seen that the universe is really working for me. And it's not a personal working for me. It's just that there's a larger intelligence there that I just really feel has my back all the time. And it's that and I wish that he had been able to talk about that in terms of the divine intervention, that there's something greater than he was able to see. And so he says there's nothing there because he doesn't know. He says he doesn't know. And I'm kind of like, that's baloney. You're a smart guy, and there is something more. And I don't know what it is. I don't claim to know what it is, but my own heart tells me there's a fullness that is present there.
Well,
And
we all know it has nothing to do with being a smart guy.
Right.
It has to do with what you define as that sweetness may be very different than how he defines it and or expresses it. He, he may know that same sweetness, but not have the expression of it.
That's true. Yeah.
And when he keeps talking, he keeps referring to the miracle. That miracle, and I'm wondering if sweetness isn't part of the miracle.
Yeah. And also, there is no separate person here.
Hmm.
We are that, aren't we? Ultimately, we are, the whole universe is who we are. And that's all appearing within us.
Hmm.
So the sweetness is seeing ourselves expressing, I don't know.
We are the sweetness
Thanks,
if we choose to see it.
Yeah, thank you. All right. And Abdego, thanks for your patience. It's great to see you.
Hi everyone, so great to be here. I just loved hearing what everyone says. And I loved hearing I don't know. I love that because I don't I can tell you I don't know. I never know. And when I think I know, it's most of the time it's not true. Because it's Indigo and she doesn't have a clue. She doesn't have a clue. And then I always love to of what was said, that there's a larger intelligence that always has my back. And I always feel that. That's why I'm like speechless, because this love that I feel, that's always here, always taking care of everything. That I'm speechless from this love that I feel, that's always with all of us, and that is all of us. So yeah, and thank you everyone. Love being here.
Thank you. Great. Thank you. Alka. Alka's here. There she is. Hi.
Here I am.
Hey.
So, I just wanted to, hi everyone. When Amy said that he said there was nothing there. When I was listening to his interview and he mentioned something like that when he was being shown stuff that the universe could go either way and he didn't see much hope and it was up to us. And I thought, what are you talking about? You, a drug taker and leading a life, was sort of from one day to another, a switch was flipped where he lost all wish to do any of that thing and went into all this. I mean, how could he say that there's no hope? That was my thing about him, Amy, like you said. There is, if a switch can be flicked for someone, like, I'm not saying he was a bad person, but it could happen to anyone. And if the universe decides it needs to wake up more people, it will do it.
Hmm.
So that's the only point I wanted to make. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Before you came on, Alka, we were talking about how it's so amazing. These people that get strung out on drugs and all kinds of different things end up having these amazing awakening experiences. And I mean, I can name at least 6 people that are fairly well-known teachers that have.
But most of them prayed to be saved or whatever, and he didn't do anything. And yet the switch was flipped for him because the universe decided it needs a teacher.
Yep.
Mhm.
Same with
That's
Byron Katie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
There
Yeah.
seems to be, when there's no hope, you give up, you let go. And then suddenly something happens because everything changes. There's a flow that occurs. And as he said, when he was talking about different artists, where does it come from? Where does that flow come from? And I know as an artist, as soon as I stop trying to figure it out, something happens. I can let go. And something happens. Now, it may not be great art, but something happens.
Thank
And
you.
trusting that something happens, I find myself doing that more and more. Just get out of the way. Loving an analysis. I'm trying to learn how to, and I need your help. I'm trying to keep things simple and get right to the point. And I do love to talk. So I'm going to try to land the plane, so to speak. I loved him. I love the fact that he wants to keep things simple, that all there is the now. That's it. And he doesn't know. That's it. Where do his songs come from? I don't know. They just come. Where does this happen? I don't know. It just happens. And it's like trusting that. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking.
Thank you, Patricia. Yeah, somehow the mind likes to jump in there and find reasons for everything and kind of take over. So being able to just say I don't know, like Indigo, it's just it's refreshing to not let the mind run the show, so to speak. But anyway, William, I know you had your hand up. Did you? Yeah.
Well, I guess it's that what Patricia's saying is like, I guess it's knowing I don't know. Is a knowing. And what I get, I've been following Sal for several years in a group and I got so much. And what I get is that when I just am with, observing, noticing, being in this presence, what I get is that he's only in the moment with himself or not, but he doesn't really care. It's like none of his actions, movements, doing this is for someone else. He's only in his own moment of now. That's the feeling I get. And that's the feeling I get for myself, that in this now, in this now, in this now, that's all there really is. And I don't have to be doing what I usually do, is figuring out other thoughts, my thoughts, other thoughts. So I just love that it's like, instead of talking, more thoughts, more thoughts. It's be. It's just being the love in the moment. Be, 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 be. That's what it seems. Even when I'm not, I know that. I know that. So there's something about this knowing I don't know anything, but I know that. I really know that. And I just know this moment, at this moment, that's all I know. And then I'm not there. But it's always there. It's always here. It's always here now. So that's what I come back to. And it is, oh my God, it's always here. Yes, yes, it's always here. Here now, here now, here now. That's what I get. So I just love it. Thanks.
Oh, thank you, William. It's so good to hear from everybody. I just love hearing everybody's thoughts on or whatever. Nani, thank you.
My response is more from our conversation, and it's around that word hope. Wow. That's always been a little interesting word for us. And what I heard when Patricia brought it forward was hope comes with an agenda. And I had to sit with that for a moment because years and years ago, I made an agreement that I would hope for nothing because hoping for it and saying it out loud assured that it would not come to pass. So that was my agreement with life at the time. I've since moved beyond that, but I recognize that, yeah, every time I hope for something, there's an agenda at the end of what I'm hoping for. I think Trisha's very much on the right path because when we are able to allow that hope for something, some outcome, some this, some that, some anything, when we can drop that hope, it makes room for whatever is there to rise up and be seen. We're so busy sometimes looking out there for what we think we want, we don't see it right at the bottom of our feet. And so hope, I mean, people can do whatever they want to with it, but for us, just sitting in this moment, it's seeing the agenda that's attached to it. And, when I would say things to people in the past about, yeah, I'm not fucking with hope. I'm not da 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 da. And I get all kinds of flack. But I knew that for me, hope was not something that helped fuel the forward. And in this discussion, I'm understanding why. Because you really, when I didn't know this to be true, somehow I knew to be true that hoping into the future was not going to do anything for me in the now.
Thank you, Lonnie. That's great. And Chuck, good to see you.
Hello, I'm going to be really quick. I really am so grateful for everybody's shares. And I thought I wanted to do a little bit of my part. I'm completely baffled that things have been going on like this for a few days for me. I had a note that I had taken from him and I cannot find it at all anywhere. And I spoke from it Thursday morning when we were talking about hearing God's voice. And I read right from it, and somebody was mentioning it. So I just want to make that one comment because I can remember specifically what was on the note sheet around that. And I really like it. So I wanted to say it again out loud. And that was somebody was mentioning it earlier. I think it was leading in their thing of things that they liked, and it was hearing. I didn't hear. I've only one time in all my years actually heard a voice speak, and that was when I was playing around with the AA program for a while, and I heard a voice go, "Back to AA and you'll be okay." And I literally heard that. It was a gentle but firm little statement, and I did, and I have been. But and refer to the notes from him, I was think I hadn't I've been struggling, and I didn't hear a voice after I was contemplating that lesson for a couple of days going into it, hearing ahead of time what it was. But when I was watching that podcast, and he shared something that was said that was touched on earlier, that I didn't hear his voice, but I took it as his voice when it said, "Beloved, turn around. I am always here." And I didn't hear that voice, but that was God's voice speaking to me at the time. And I really loved it. And that's what I want, the things that was on my notes. But I read that, I think, off of my notes Thursday morning when we were talking about that lesson, and I cannot find my notes anywhere. Right on this desk, I haven't done anything. But thanks for letting me share. I want to be part. I just wanted to share that, and I'm really, really grateful for all that you guys are putting out here for me.
Thank you, Chuck. You'll probably find it now.
Rob.
I think about the number of ways that God speaks to us. If looking out the window, it's like Amy was talking about feeling the breeze yesterday with her window open and feeling how wonderful that felt to feel the warm breeze. Isn't that God talking?
Yeah, well, I should say you guys are God talking to me all the time.
Well, you're talking to us too, Chuck.
Yeah.
But God talks in so many ways. Someone sent a picture of a beautiful sunset here in Mexico. That was God speaking. When you talk, it's like this wonderful thing that Amy shared early on Tuesday. God wills us happiness. Isn't that God speaking? Well, it is to me. I'm trying to keep it simple. How am I doing?
Great.
Am I doing better?
Yes.
What I'm witnessing are all the amazing ways that God is talking, not even just to me, but to every single being around me. I have a person that I'm working with who is taking care of two people with Alzheimer's and dementia. And recently she's recognized one is being put into, they're both going to be in treatment. And so recently it was, they would let her know that if her husband doesn't go to the hospital, if he's in the hospital, they can place him easier. I happen to know that part of what she's been praying for is for him to be placed. And so last night he went missing and she lost her mind. Mm-hmm. And in my system, all I kept knowing was this is what's needed to happen so that he can get what he needs and you can get what you need. She couldn't really hear that. He was found at about 11:30 and they took him to the hospital and he's being placed. And it was this morning that she was able to tell me, I get it now. I get it that God was with him the whole time. And I didn't have to worry about something bad happening to him because God was taking him where he needed to be. The witnessing of that, there is no greater gift for me in this moment.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing, Lonnie. Amy, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really radical. And I think that's what Poe is. He's just totally radical. One of the other things he said was that when thoughts are appearing, what is that? And he said that's just life appearing as thought, which I really appreciate. It's all just life. Who was the oh God, who's the philosopher, IT PhD? He's from the Netherlands. Anyway, he calls it nature. You know who I'm talking about. He calls it nature, and so it's life. But he says when you recognize you're lost in thought, then you're not lost in thought, right? That's your holiday. I was lost in thought. Well, then that recognition itself is the holiday, right? And Ramana said, "There's only self. There's only, as you said earlier, Mel. There's only the biggest self." So he says, blow it all open. And that's kind of maybe why folks that are so willing to live on the edge and do the drugs and have the total explosive life, they are blowing everything open. And my sense is that he really just gets it right down to the skeleton frame of being. And for me, sometimes, I like to have all the fat around and I like to have all the pretty stuff, that comes along with it. But the bare bone stuff is really pretty too. And his talk made me realize I really do love emotion. I love getting caught up in it and feeling it and being in it. It's such a big movement, and that's okay. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I know what I am, and I know what I am, even when the emotion is really powerful. But it's like, it's okay. The image comes to me of the little baby elephant playing in a mud puddle. That's okay. She's just playing and playing in the mud puddle, and there's nothing wrong with that. So that's the radicalness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Amy. And Trisha, yay.
I lowered my hand because I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, well. But then I remembered it. It's like, I loved when he said that there's no self, little self and big self, or little self and self with God. It's all just is. All that language to try to define what the experience of God is. It just is. It's the isness of everything. I got right to the point.
Great. Well, I was reading, I guess it's in the the story in the Indian culture, where about you have a necklace, the woman has a necklace on and she forgot she has it on. Looks everywhere for her necklace and then suddenly points out, oh, you have it on all the time. She had it on all the time. Well, did she ever really lose the necklace? Do we ever really lose ourselves? We have it here all the time, right? It's just thought that believes differently. So question. Thanks. All right, William. Good.
Two thoughts are occurring to me right now. One is there's nothing wrong with anything until I think about it. The title of Bob Sayler's book. The other thought is look at yourself the way you look at the world. That is so powerful. It's such a nice reminder.
Thank you, William.
Come on, Sandra.
Yeah, I was just about ready to do that too.
Okay, I'm having a holiday right now. But I guess I can get into thoughts. Well, Mel, you did such a beautiful summary of this that you touched on all the points that touched me. Amy, I like what you said. Life is appearing as thoughts. I mean, for a long time now, I've had trouble with the big I and the little I, the false self and the true self, the separation of that. And I love hearing a teacher who says it's all one self, because that's what my experience is here. I did manage to separate it out. I think sometimes we go through that. At least I did. I went through that whole process of observing the self, and it was just a step to another level of being where I recognized it was all one. I don't know, have a lot to say about it. When he said that, there's always this one little niggling question in my mind, but I've learned to let it go because it really doesn't matter. And that is if he wasn't doing anything and he was just guided, then who was guiding? Who's the guider? And I guess I will share something I've shared before, because Amy, when you first spoke, it really touched me when you said there was something bigger, grander. You didn't use the word grander, but more. I think you used the word more. When my very first, I'm not going to call it a glimpse. I don't like the word glimpse. Experience. It was a mystical experience. The words I heard very clearly were, I am you, I am more than you. All of it was true. And I knew it was true. And there was absolutely no doubt in my mind that that was God, or whatever we put the God word on, speaking directly to me as me. The word, and it was so, it changed my life. And that was over 30 years ago. Everything changed after that. And I was not seeking. I was not meditating for hours every day. I wasn't really seeking, but I did have something. And I don't know if I would call it hope. I would call it desire. I had a desire because I always knew, even as a little child, that there was something I was looking for, seeking, that wasn't in my immediate world. And through adolescence, there was always a desire, a longing, like an innate longing for home. It wasn't like hope for a particular agenda, but it was for something bigger. And when I heard those words, I knew that it was true, and then of course I wanted to figure it out. I went through a lot of stuff, but listening to this man was really, I liked it a lot. I did. I didn't feel the love as I listened to him. I heard a lot of analysis, but I don't always feel the love. That's okay. I feel it right now with you, though. I have a holiday. I have lots of them all day long. When I notice the thought, I'm having a holiday, right?
Yeah.
And Patricia just told me I'm speaking as God. Okay. There's a radical concept. I'll chew on that for a while. So, Livy, you called on me. I'm going to call on you back.
There you go.
I can't hear you. You're
And I said, and I'm going to call on Lonnie because she has her.
Lonnie saved you.
it's volleyball.
And maybe what I'm about to say is going to come back to you anyway, Livy. But when you and Amy said, I didn't feel the love, the question that rang through my system is, where were you looking for it from?
I'm not looking for it. I'm not looking for it. I just noticed that I didn't feel it. I'm not looking for it.
So
And
in the
you know
not
what else?
feeling it
I
though,
just want to say one other thing. I am totally open to the probability that I don't know what love really is. I am so open to that. And so what I expect, I may not be looking for it, but I may expect it to feel a certain way. I may have a predetermined sense of what feels like love for me, and it just wasn't there. It wasn't there. I didn't see it there. But I wasn't looking for anything, Lonnie. Maybe I was. If I was, I wasn't aware that I was.
I asked the question about where were you looking at it from? Or what were you looking at it from? Because I didn't feel the love is much more of an internal, well, not for me, an internal or being experience in this being. That person didn't elicit that feeling. It seems to be what you're saying. Is so I'm asking the question because in the discussion right now in the head is, are you asking the question of, are you feeling like you were supposed to feel it? And I think you just addressed that. Or our real question is, what was it that you didn't, that you thought you were supposed to feel, maybe that you didn't feel? Maybe that's the question.
It's a really good question.
It is a good question.
It's a very good question.
What is, we have these blunt communication devices we're using right now. They're not very nuanced, they're very difficult, but I want to correct the statement now. I wasn't in vibrational accord.
That's a great way to put it.
I can walk into a room and be immediate. Nobody has to say anything. I'm not looking for anything, and I can immediately be in vibrational accord. And then sometimes I have to like open my heart more to be in there. And I just didn't get there with that particular interview. And sometimes it happens immediately. And it's really hard to describe what vibrational accord is. So I just translate it into love. But it's
But it's such a
it's
different
a
statement,
visceral
isn't it?
feeling. It's a visceral feeling, and it has an energy of its own. And thank you for asking the question because it's making me think about it. It it's very, very pleasurable um, uh, vibrational accord. That's the part that I call love, I guess. But it wasn't like I was seeking something from him. I usually start each of these. I try to start everything with, let me be open and teachable. Let me hear what I need to hear and not try to box it in and put it into any structures so that I can hear without all the constructs that are stuck in this head.
And my experience of you just now, as you talked about that, Sandra, was when you said the words vibrational accord, your frequency changed from when it was, I didn't feel the love. And then that frequency shifted for a minute back in just the way I was able to feel it when you said I wasn't seeking anything, and there went back to that other place.
Yeah.
Those words, vibrational accord versus I didn't feel the love, it was a completely different energetic delivery.
Yeah.
My goodness.
I keep hearing the words, let's have a holiday right now. And from that, I get a lot of assurance of presence. Oh, it's just that presence I feel. Now I don't have it, then I do, don't do, doesn't matter. It's always there.
Mhm. I love this conversation. I felt it. I felt this vibrational. Oh, I was vibrating with this guy. I just loved what he had to say. I love the simplicity, the authenticity. That opens me up. He landed the plane, which I'm trying to do a lot. He does it a whole lot better than I do, that's for sure.
I often circle the field a dozen times or so before I land.
Well, I say when I first listened to it the first time, I was reluctant even to suggest it. Let me put it this way. But I listened to it 2, 3, maybe 5 times now, and each time I got a whole different. And the last time, just most recently, I was really got a deeper dive into where he was coming from, and it was cool. And I also I also call it Holy Day. And holiday is also a holy day. Another way to look at it. And Alice, thank you for your patience.
Yeah, that was a useful discussion for me. I wanted to I thought like, well, his he reminded me that he was very Eastern minded, like, or presented as an Eastern philosophy teacher, where they're very neutral, and they're, and not warm and fuzzy. Okay, maybe, to put the description of the contrast that I feel between different, but here we all were listening to him as a so it was that he was here in the present moment as we, came all to share this. And but I the simplicity, that the question, the thing that kept coming forward for me was, it's simple. It's like somebody said, it's irreducible is the now, and that's all there is. And that this oneness is very hard to describe, understand. What is the nature of oneness? That everything is God, everything is divine, and what falls away. With that, I didn't like holiday. I thought it was like, oh, we need a special event, to be, a shifting or changing. I don't know. I was just like, just I wasn't in vibrational accord with holiday. It was just like, but that was my only, mind clatter. And right away, when in the beginning, when Melanie said the Lucy the quote about celebrate, and I think in the real in a full now, that's there is celebration. It's not a special vacation, or I don't, a holy day is closer to it. Celebration is that in that oneness, when we're in the now and the oneness, there is all the holy things that are, we see the beauty, we feel the peace, we feel guided, in contact with all of that, and being that my sense of being in allness, wholeness, oneness is peaceful and simple. And that's why I really, I guess I listened to it twice because I thought it was important to do that. But that's my wrap on that.
Thank you, Alice. And Amy, did you have a share?
Yeah, just a couple of things that I look at the holiday as a holiday from thought. So it's like the holy instant. It's a holiday from thought, which helped me, and it also helped me that he said a holiday doesn't need to feel good. So maybe the Mel's Holy Day is actually the way to put it. And the other thing I want to say, because we're all really, I want to reflect I love this group. I love each and every one of you. And so the way that I responded to Lonnie was reactive. And the reason I think I don't want to misstate my own experience here, but in the past and now, I do find myself being skeptical of teachers. And I'm skeptical, in part, it's a healthy skepticism, because there are people that present themselves as teachers that don't really live the teaching. And I don't know Sal Poe, but I know he shares that skepticism because he obviously had a very genuine exploration until he sort of came home, and now he's trying to help others find the same. I think I so appreciate the gentleness that Sandra offered in terms of it being a tone, like matching the tone or matching the vibration or whatever you want to call it. So I just want to say that. And I guess that's it. I really appreciated this video, and I appreciate all of you.
Yeah, it's wonderful to hear. And William.
I found myself melting as I listened to you now, Amy. acknowledging what showed up for you. And I think that when I'm not at peace, that's a time for a holiday. But my problem is sometimes I bring what is keeping me from peace into the holiday, and that's not the same thing. That's not the holiday. For me, the holiday is just recognizing I'm not that, I'm not that, I'm not that, and being, I am.
That's it.
And so I just wanted to say that. And I just love the moment I felt with you, Amy. It's when I surrender to all those thoughts and recognize I'm not that, even that. Let me just have a holiday from, like you said, from thoughts. What a relief. That's the kind of surrender I just love.
Thank you, William. I'll turn it over to Libby as we all go have a holiday, right?
All right, thank you all. Is everyone complete before I stop the recording? All right.
Melanie, thank you for this.
Oh, thanks you all.
I really did like it.